On the ball, we'll have the highlights of last night's game between Arsenal and Leeds, plus a look ahead to the rest of the weekend action in 10 minutes. First on ITV1, the lunchtime news with Sasha Herriman.
Good afternoon. 2 Japanese hostages held in Iraq for 3 days have been released. They were handed over safe and well to Muslim clerics in Baghdad this morning. There's been no such happy resolution as yet, though, for the US soldier paraded by his captors on Arabic TV. He's still being held this lunchtime. Friends and relatives of Keith Mopin back home in America have been holding a vigil to show support. Romilly Weeks has the latest.
Iraqi clerics had pleaded for the safe return of the 2 Japanese hostages. Today, they were heeded. Junpei Yasuda and Nobutaka Watanabe had been missing since Wednesday. This morning, they were handed over in a mosque in western Baghdad, well enough to answer questions. They said they were treated kindly by their captors and well fed.
My name is Keith Matthew Mopin.
It's the US government which is now having to deal with its own hostage nightmare. 20-year-old Private Keith Mopin paraded on television by his captors after he was taken hostage 7 days ago. His kidnappers want to use him to bargain for the release of men being held by US forces. In his hometown of Willowville, Ohio, the video brought hundreds out onto the streets to pray for his safety.
We have believed all along that our prayers would be answered, and we ask that you continue to believe in his safe return. Believe in the efforts of our military as we do right now. Believe in their skill and know-how as we do. And most importantly, believe in Matt Mopin.
It's all adding to the pressure on Tony Blair and George Bush. The Prime Minister's back in Britain after the summit in Washington, where both leaders vowed that order would be restored in Iraq. But there was no break in the daily violence today. This, the aftermath of a roadside bomb in Baghdad, which reportedly killed an American soldier. Bush and Blair have now agreed that they need the help of the United Nations. For most in Iraq, that can't happen quickly enough. Romilly Weeks, ITV News.
A post-mortem is taking place today on a body thought to be that of missing nursery worker Amanda Edwards. The body was found on a building site in Malmesbury in Wiltshire yesterday. Officers are continuing to investigate the suicide of a man arrested and later released during the hunt for Amanda. The man, who's married with 2 children, was found hanged hours after Amanda's body was discovered. A third person has been charged in connection with the murder of schoolgirl Jodie Jones. Jodie was stabbed last June. A 15-year-old boy appeared in court on Wednesday charged with her murder. Now his 22-year-old brother has been charged with attempting to pervert the course of justice. A 45-year-old woman has also been charged. A memorial service has been held to mark the 20th anniversary of the death of the police officer Yvonne Fletcher. It took place at the spot outside the Libyan embassy where she was gunned down. Lady Thatcher joined senior police officers, friends and Yvonne's mother to pay tribute to the WPC. Britain's top policeman says he's confident a new investigation into the murder will be successful.
Well, we for the last 20 years have never given up on the investigation. That's how we are. We do not give up. I think the optimism is well founded. I do believe that we're making progress. I know that. I've just spoken to the investigating officers this morning, so I'm optimistic. You know, we're not going to rest, actually, until we bring someone to justice in respect of this outrageous crime.
Football now, and relegation-threatened Portsmouth are battling it out with Manchester United this lunchtime. It's a crucial match for Pompey, who are currently 4th from bottom in the table. Steve Stone broke the deadlock after 36 minutes after a howling defensive blunder by United. It's currently Portsmouth 1, Manchester United 0. Well, Joyce O'Harger and Mark Bolton will be here with more on that at 5:10. Plus, Prince William makes a splash this afternoon in his first international water polo match. William's squad, he's part of the squad representing Scotland's universities. They play Wales in Cardiff later today. It's one of William's favourite sports, which he's played since studying at Eton. That's all coming up at 5:10. In the meantime, you can keep up with developments as they happen on the ITV News channel. Bye-bye.
ITV National Weather, sponsored by Powergen.
Good afternoon. Very unsettled weather across Britain this weekend. Not so bad just now across England and Wales. Mostly dry, sunny spells, just an odd shower. But in the northwest it's already wet and windy, and that wet and windy weather will spread south and east across most of Britain overnight tonight, and then slowly away from the east coast during tomorrow afternoon. Brighter conditions with heavy showers for the west tomorrow. But for the rest of this afternoon, England and Wales not so bad. There's just an odd shower around, but some pleasant sunshine. But it is already wet and windy across parts of Ireland, western Scotland, and that'll spread into other western parts of Britain through the afternoon and evening. Cold in the west, only 9, up to around 15 in the sunshine in the east. Then overnight tonight, the wet and windy weather spreads ever further east, drier in the west later in the night, but misty there too.
Positive energy from Powergen.
Soccer Sunday tomorrow, Crystal Palace and Wigan. All the action from 12:30 here on ITV1.
Good afternoon, I'm Jonathan Wilson. These are the headlines in London today. More now on the memorial service that's been held this morning to mark the 20th anniversary of the murder of WPC Yvonne Fletcher. The young policewoman was shot dead as she patrolled a demonstration outside the then Libyan embassy in St James's Square. Sharon Thomas has this report.
Well, as the Metropolitan Police Commissioner Sir John Stevens said this morning, can it really be 20 years? It was on this spot on the 17th of April 1984 that WPC Yvonne Fletcher was gunned down while policing a protest of students, Libyan students, opposed to the rule of Colonel Gaddafi. Her killer has never been caught, having escaped under a cloak of diplomatic immunity. Well, this morning, during a short 40-minute service, colleagues of Yvonne Fletcher's who were here on that fateful day were joined by her family, her parents, Quinny and Tim, and her sisters, together with Sir John Stevens and other members of the Metropolitan Police, together with also Lady Thatcher, who was Prime Minister at the time, of course. Well, a team from the Metropolitan Police have just returned now from Libya, having secured a joint investigation between Britain and Libya into Yvonne Fletcher's death. And this, of course, comes just a few weeks after that historic handshake between Prime Minister Tony Blair and Colonel Gaddafi.
Sharon Thomas with that report. Michael Barrymore is to meet the father of 31-year-old Stuart Lubbock, who died in his swimming pool in Essex 3 years ago. The meeting planned for next month will be the first time Stuart's dad, Terry, has met face-to-face with Mr. Barrymore. The TV star has reportedly promised new information on what happened the night Stuart died. An inquest in 2002 can find no definite cause of death. The Metropolitan Police Force is seeking the power to fast-track ethnic minority recruits in a bid to boost numbers. It wants a change in the Race Relations Act to allow for positive discrimination. If the proposal is blocked, the Met is in danger of failing to meet a target of recruiting a quarter of its officers from ethnic minority backgrounds by 2009. Football in this afternoon's matches are going to have little effect on the ultimate destination of the Premiership title, which is clearly destined for Highbury after Arsenal's 5-0 demolition of Leeds United last night. Manager Arsène Wenger described Thierry Henry as the best striker in the world after his 4 goals. It took the Frenchman's tally to 150 strikes for the club. Now, just 35 to go before he reaches Ian Wright's club record. Arsenal, they'll have set their sights on another record to complete the season unbeaten. Well, the last time that was achieved was back in the 1888-89 season by Preston North End's Invincibles. And I'm sure Arsenal fans will be pleased to hear that Manchester United are a goal down to Portsmouth at Fratton Park currently in that Premiership match. Well, that's it from me and the team. I'll be back with London Tonight at 5:05. Hope you can join us for that. Goodbye.
What's the weather like in Amsterdam?
Actually, it's better than I expected.
Well, of course it is. Expect the best and you'll be surprised how good things can be. Be positive, matey.
Hello, good afternoon. The biggest event in the south this weekend, of course, the marathon tomorrow. And the weather looks dreadful, at least for the start of the race. The morning's going to be wet and windy. It will brighten up later, though. The slowest runners will get the best of the weather as they finish the race. For today, it's a different story. Dry for most of us, quite bright too in London, some sunny spells around, and just 1 or 2 isolated showers. Temperatures today are a pleasant 15, that's about 59 Fahrenheit. Now tonight will start dry, but by the early hours we'll have thicker cloud around, and by the end of the night there'll be wet and windy weather right across the London region, and that's how we'll start tomorrow. Overcast, lots of cloud and outbreaks of rain, and strong southerly winds too. All the rain and the strong winds will move away to the east slowly, brighter for most of us by the afternoon.
Sponsored by BMI, welcome to low-cost flights without the low expectations.